Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to a new video on this channel. Today we're going to be talking about the recent controversies surrounding PARK BOM related to 21 and why it seems like we might not see the group together again. 21 was a girl group formed by YG Entertainment that debuted in 2009 with the song Fire. The group was made up of 4 members, CL, PARK BOM, Sandara Park, and minzy. The group became famous for their strong and distinctive style within K-pop, mixing hip-hop, pop, and electronic sounds, along with a darker concept that stood out compared to many other groups of their generation that focused on brighter and more colorful concepts. The group officially disbanded in 2016 as the members gradually left the company. However, we still continued seeing the girls together over the years. They seemed to have a very good relationship with each other, even after the disbandment. In 2022, they performed together at Coachella, and in 2024, they announced a comeback tour. This brought a lot of attention back to the group, with performances at festivals and photo shoots, and it felt like they were one of the few groups that could still attract huge crowds even after years of inactivity. Unfortunately, in some of those performances, PARK BOM seemed disoriented, staring at a fixed point, sometimes even leaving the stage or missing entire concerts. In later appearances, she was not present, and 21 performed as a trio at events like Head in the Clouds Festival, which reopened the conversation about PARK BOM's health, something that fans already know has not been very good for a long time. On August 4, 2025, 21 performed for the last time as a 4-member group at the Seoul World Cup Stadium. BOM appeared happy and healthy during the performance, and no one could have imagined that this would be 21's final performance together. To understand the reasons behind PARK BOM's poor mental health, we need to look back at the pill incident. When she was a student, BOM witnessed something extremely traumatic. One of her best friends died in front of her during a soccer game. That shock caused her to develop post-traumatic stress disorder and ADD, which meant she needed professional medication for many years. In 2010, BOM tried to have her treatment, a medication called Adderall, sent from the United States to Korea by mail. The problem is that while in America it's a very common prescription, in South Korea amphetamines are strictly banned and treated as hard drugs. Customs intercepted the package, and although prosecutors investigated and confirmed that she had legitimate medical prescriptions, the case leaked to the press years later in 2014. She was labeled a criminal and a drug addict, and she was basically forced to disappear from the public eye for a while. That moment marked the beginning of a stigma that unfortunately still follows her to this day. PARK BOM became a constant target of criticism because of her cosmetic surgeries, and while it is true that she has had many procedures and some people think she might even have an addiction, it also has to be said that she has a medical condition called lymphadenitis, which can affect and sometimes alter facial features. There is also her controversy involving the actor Lee Min-ho, because on her social media, she often posts confusing images and messages about him, referring to him as her husband and uploading edits of the two of them together. All of this makes it clear that she hasn't been in the best mental state and that sometimes she may post things online without thinking too much about them. In August, the agency representing PARK BOM, D Nation Entertainment, which had been releasing statements updating fans about her health, announced that BOM would not participate in 21 activities because she was not going through a good health period and would use that time to rest. There have also been several statements from BOM that later required clarification from the company, asking fans for understanding because, to put it simply, sometimes it seems like she doesn't fully realize what she's saying. She has even stated that she is no longer with the company, despite D Nation Entertainment explaining that she still has an active contract with them. In 2025, PARK BOM posted several screenshots accusing Yang Hyun-suk, the founder of YG Entertainment, her former agency, claiming that she had supposedly filed a lawsuit against him for fraud and embezzlement. She alleged that she never received the payments she was owed for 21 activities, even though she said she had written almost all of the group's songs without receiving credit or compensation. She also stated that people at YG mocked her appearance and that she had to pay for her own plastic surgeries herself. The situation went viral as well because she estimated that the amount YG owed her was an extremely long number in billions of won. And if we translate that into dollars, it would be around 75 million, followed by 15 zeros. This was about to turn into a massive scandal. However, her agency D-Nation Entertainment later announced that the financial agreements had already been settled, and that the posts were made during a serious health crisis, also explaining that communication with her was very difficult at that time. Despite the fact that all the members had their own issues with YG Entertainment, they always continued to show support for each other on social media. For example, when the anniversary of their debut comes around, they usually post photos together to celebrate. But unfortunately, on March 3rd, Park Bom posted a handwritten letter that once again sparked controversy. And in that letter, she seems to talk about the drug scandal that followed her for years. Hello, this is Park Bom. I'm writing this because I want to share the truth with you directly. Have you all been well? I've been doing okay and working hard. I'm trying to speak carefully. I'm scared to bring this up, but I feel I have to. I'm worried about the medication 𝒉𝒨, which has been labeled as a psychotropic drug. I don't even want to say this again. I'm afraid that if it ends up in the news once more, it could completely ruin me. At the time, I felt like I had died, but I'm gathering the courage to speak now. It's not a drug. I am an ADD patient. It's called attention deficit disorder. Park Sandara was caught up in a drug issue, and to cover that up, they made Park Bom into a drug addict instead. At that time, there wasn't even an established regulation in the country regarding 𝒉𝒨 itself, and strangely, the law was created after the Park Bom incident. It didn't exist before. To the online citizens, I sincerely ask that you please look into the facts as they are. And lastly, what I really want to say is this. I hope that YG Entertainment, Yang Hyun-suk, Teddy Park, and Lee Chae-lin will not report to the country that Park Bom used more than the prescribed amount of a drug that they themselves have not used in nearly 30 years. I'm writing this because it feels like my soul is still holding on to it. Thank you. Apparently, Osun news outlet said that people close to Bom claimed that she was still mentally unstable, which indicates that this could have been another moment of instability, also saying that there is no feud among the members. Sandara's former company, 𝒉𝒆𝒍𝒐 company, distanced itself from the situation, while her new team confirmed that the allegations were groundless. However, Sandara Park did not stay silent and posted an Instagram story saying, "I never use drugs, I wish her well." And on that same day, she had public activities scheduled. This clearly shows some distance between the members. You can also see it in the fact that Sandara didn't mention Bom by name and referred to her simply as her, probably upset about being dragged into such a serious scandal. CL, on the other hand, hasn't said anything. She is also currently facing her own controversy after being referred to prosecutors for allegedly not registering her agency for 5 years, something that could be considered a form of tax evasion. After that, Park Bom unfollowed the members of 21 on social media, so now the only person she follows is Lee Min-ho. Meanwhile, Sandara Park also unfollowed Bom. Personally, I think everyone is aware of the mental suffering that Park Bom must be going through, but attacking other people and accusing them of such serious things isn't okay. So I understand Sandara's reaction. I don't think this situation will be solved simply by restricting her access to social media, but at least it might prevent further damage to her reputation. I don't know if she is still taking substances or if it's actually the medication she needs for medical reasons that is causing these behaviors, but I really hope she can get through this and eventually find some peace and happiness.
And this has been all. I hope you like it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. It would help me a lot. See ya.